Good evening, good evening, good evening, parents. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Parent Academy here at Keyz to Success Incorporated. Hey, Instagram. Hey, Coach Purpose. How are you? I am running a little bit late. Our Parent Academy session tonight was supposed to start at 8, but my tutoring session ran over, so I do apologize. So I am not going to be before you long. If you are a parent, let me know. Or if you are a grandparent or a caregiver of a student in grades K through 8 who's struggling with test anxiety or taking the test, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're a parent, grandparent, caregiver, if you know a student, have a student in grades K through 8, and they're struggling with test anxiety, taking that test, let me know right now in the comments. Also, let me know if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay game. This is going to be a really quick and dirty 30-minute session for all of my parents out there who have kids that struggle with test anxiety. And I, your favorite educator, Miss Tiffany McDonald, is here to help your student learn how to take that test, but don't let the test take you. This is day one, part one of our 5-day series of Take the Test, Don't Let the Test Take You. And I'll be coming on each evening around 8 o'clock, 8:15 till about 8:30 and giving you some quick tips, tricks, strategies, and resources that your student can use when they're taking that state test, that MAP test, that English test, math test, science test, social studies test, any test for that matter, how they can really ace that test. I am going to give you four strategies and tips on how you can learn the lingo. 20% of our students struggle with test anxiety and test taking because they don't even know what the question is asking. So I'm here to help you go through and dissect those test taking tips and that test taking lingo and vocabulary to dissect those words and really, really get an understanding on what the question is asking and how to actually solve the question. Many of our state tests is given by individuals who are not in education. So of course they're creating these test questions based on their thinking and their business individuals, businessmen and women, they're accountants. And so they don't really know what our students are doing in the classroom. So I'm here to help you dissect the lingo or the vocabulary on a test. All right, if you're ready for test taking lingo number one, give me a number one in the comments. Let me know. If you know someone that this can benefit, feel free to share this out on your timeline. Tag some parents who have kids who are struggling with test anxiety. Share this out. If don't mind the scratching in the background, that is just my cat talking about, hey. All right, test taking lingo number one. The reason that most individuals, most students struggle with test taking is because they see the word compare on a test and they have no idea what that means. So it may say, compare the character's feelings and emotions to another character in the story, right? And so if you're a third grader taking that third grade reading guarantee test and you see the word compare and you have no idea what the word compare means, then you are stuck. You're struggling and you don't know what to put. So compare means to basically look at what is the same and what's different. So if you see a question on the test, if your student sees a question on the test and they say compare the character's feelings and emotions to another character in the second story. That means look at characters one, feelings and emotions, and how are they the same or different than another character. A good way to do this at home is maybe have talk with your child and maybe say, okay, Johnny, can we compare our weekend, last weekend when we went to Cedar Point, to this weekend when we stayed at home, and see if your child can identify at least 5 similarities between last weekend when he had so much fun at Cedar Point and this weekend when he stayed at home. Or see if he can compare the differences. And that way he'll get an understanding of how to compare on a test. So the first word that most students struggle with is the word compare. Being able to identify those similarities and those differences. Hope is that helping? Is that helping you? All right, number two. If you're ready for test lingo number two, go ahead and drop a number two in the comments. If you are just joining me, welcome to Take the Test. Don't let the test take you. Day one, learn the lingo with your educator's favorite educator, Miss Tiffany McDonald. Hey to my folks over here on Instagram. Hey to my folks over here on Facebook. If you know someone who has a child struggling with test anxiety, definitely share this out. Tag them on in this video, and each one teach one so that we can reach one. We just went over test taking lingo number one, which is compare, teaching children how to identify the similarities and differences. Test taking word number two that many students struggle with is the word describe. Describe the events happening in the story that you just read, or describe how the events are related to the main idea. Now, if I'm a second grader and I see the word describe in a question that states describe the events that happen and how they're related to the main idea, I'm looking at this like, what? And I know I can't ask my teacher because this is a test. So, describe means to give very specific details. Write that down if you have your notebook. Describe means to give very specific details. So, anytime your child sees the word describe in a question, it means that they're going to give very specific, which means very close knit, factual details about what's happening in the story. For example, you may talk to your child, and you may say, describe your favorite character in SpongeBob SquarePants. And we know all kids love SpongeBob. And they're gonna start telling you SpongeBob, and then say describe it. So describe how he looks. Okay, he's square. Describe his color. Okay, he's yellow. Describe his feelings. Is he happy? Is he sad? And your child may say he's happy. Or he may be sad when he's working for Mr. Krabs. You may tell your child, describe what he's doing at the Krusty Krab. SpongeBob is in the kitchen cooking Krabby Patties. So those are good ways to help your child understand the word describe on a test, to give very important details. Or you may have your child say, you may ask your child, look out the window, describe what you see. So they may say it's dark if they're looking out at nighttime. There are leaves out. There's a big tree in the front yard. There's grass. There's 5 houses, and so forth. So describe just means to tell events or details about what they see, what they hear, or what they read. I hope this is making sense to all of you. So the first test taking vocabulary word that most students struggle with is the word compare. And helping your child understand the word compare, you basically are telling them to tell you about the similarities and the differences of a particular subject or of a character. If they see the word describe, they're going to tell the teacher or tell you the events, so the actual factual sentences from the story and how they relate to each other. So it might be the story may say, on a cool Monday evening, Johnny sat in his house on the couch watching TV. He was wearing his sweatpants, his t-shirt. He was reading his book. He was getting ready to go upstairs to put on his pajamas. So the question may sound something like, describe what was Johnny doing on a Monday night in the story. And your child may say, well, Johnny was sitting on his couch reading a book. Johnny was preparing to get ready for bed. Johnny was relaxing at home. Those are factual events taken directly from your story that answers the question and tells what's going on in the story. All right. Number 3, the third word that many students struggle with when they are taking a test is the word evaluate. And lots of students struggle with the word evaluate. It means to basically form a new idea. Form a new idea. If you have a middle school or high school student, they may see the word synthesize, which also means to create a new idea. So if you're a student or your child is taking a test and they see the word evaluate the key details from the story, it basically means to form a new idea or opinion about what you just read. Here's an example, and you could do this at home. Watch your favorite TV show or movie with your child, and it could be 15, 30 minutes long. When the show is over, ask your child this question. Evaluate or form a new idea about the movie or TV show that you just read based on what you liked, didn't like, and if you would recommend to a friend. So basically, now you're going to go through the TV show, and let's just take SpongeBob. And we're going to dissect this TV show, and say, okay, I like SpongeBob SquarePants, the cartoon, because it was very funny. It was entertaining. I did not like when SpongeBob couldn't make any money at the Krusty Krab. Yes, I would recommend this to anybody who loves SpongeBob. This was a great show, but this could happen. This could be better to make it better. That's an example of evaluate. So you're basically taking the details or the events that happen in the show or the movie or the book that you read and dissecting, which means to break down the events or the details to create a whole new picture of the TV show of what you just read. So when your child takes that test and they see the word evaluate, they're basically going to go back to the story, pick out the main important events, and they're typically 5 in a story, and they're going to look at those 5 events and then determine what can they make about that story based on these events, based on these details. What do I now know about this story? I now know SpongeBob is a good cartoon. It entertains. It keeps me laughing. It makes me smile. Or the movie was very sad. The people died at the end. And I wouldn't recommend this to a friend because it made me really sad. So they're coming up with a new idea of what they have just read. All right. Quick check in. If you are a parent, a grandparent, or maybe you are a student on this live, let me know in the comments. Drop your name in the comments. If you are a parent with a child who is struggling in taking a test and struggle with test anxiety, let me know in the comments. We are going over the 4 test taking vocabulary words that many students struggle with when they're taking a test and why they tend to have test anxiety. And I'm eliminating that test anxiety, and I'm teaching you tonight how you can take that test, but don't let that test take you. So we just went over compare. So if you're taking that test, I know 3rd graders this week are taking the 3rd grade reading guarantee. I know middle school students may have taken the NWEA MAP test. I know some high school students may be taking their ACTs, SATs, whichever test you're taking. If you see the word compare on a test, it means to talk about what's the same and what's different in 2 events or 2 characters. Remember, you have to have 2 when you're comparing something. If you see the word describe on a test, it means to give details about what is happening in that story. Give factual details. Don't make it up. Don't put it out of thin air, but actually go back to the story and find the key details that happen in the story and talk about it. So it may say describe the character. So you're going to look at the character's personality, their physical appearance, their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions. If you're describing an event, you're going to look at what is the event, why did it happen, where did it happen, how did it happen, those, and when did it happen. So that's describe. The 3rd word is evaluate. So if your child sees the word evaluate on a test, It means to come up with a new opinion or a new idea. So it might be the main idea of the story is it's a fall autumn day. Well, evaluate the story means to come up with something new. Well, it's a fall day on a Saturday, or it's a gloomy fall day, depending on what the events are in the story. And the last word, number 4, of the test taking lingo that many students struggle with, giving them test anxiety, is the word infer. Infer, write that down if you are taking notes. Infer. Infer means to come up with your own conclusion based on the facts and the details from the story. It's a little bit like prediction, but not quite. Here's an example. If I said the clouds in the sky are gray, it's getting very dark outside, the air is becoming very cold, what can you infer? And if you know it, drop it in the comments. I'll say that again. The clouds in the sky are gray. It's getting very dark outside. The air becomes very cold. What can you infer? What conclusion can you make based on those 3 or 4 details? Anybody know? Anybody have a guess? Drop it in the comments. Welcome to my Instagram family. Hey, to my Facebook family. So, what can you infer about that story? The clouds in the sky are gray. It's getting very dark outside. The air becomes very cold. You might infer that it's getting ready to rain. You might infer it's getting ready to storm. It's nighttime. Lots of possibilities. And we're taking what our facts, which is the clouds in the sky are gray. We're taking our second fact, it's getting dark outside. We're taking our third fact, the air becomes cold. Then we take what we already know, which is called schema, and saying, okay, the clouds are becoming gray. What do we know when the clouds in the sky are gray? Well, it might rain. Okay. It might storm. All right. What do we know when it gets very dark outside? Possibly raining, possibly storming. And what do we know when the air becomes very cold? The weather is changing. It's about to storm. And so we can conclude that it's getting ready to storm outside. So that is the word infer, which means to take your background knowledge. What do you already know from the facts in the story? Take your facts in the story, put those two together, and come up with a new conclusion. I hope that helped you guys tonight. Those are the 4 main words. Now, there's a lot more words. There's about 10 to 12 different words that many students struggle with. And you can find all 10 words in my Don't Take the Test, Don't Let the Test Take You interactive workbook. Just go to www.keyz2successinc.com. That's www.keyz, the number 2, successinc.com. Click on the locker, and then you're going to look for Take the Test, Don't Let the Test Take You interactive workbook. And I have a section in there that is titled Test Taking Vocabulary Project Based Learning. And it gives you all of the 10, 12 vocabulary words that your child will see on the test. And I actually give you activities that you and your child can do together at home to help them to understand those words better for the test. Here's your challenge. If you complete at least 5 of those activities and DM me on Facebook or Instagram, Facebook at KEYZ2 Success INC, or on Instagram at Dr. Tiffany McDonald. DM me a video of your child completing at least 5 of those activities and their understanding of the words. I will send you out a free gift. And we all love free, right? So again, just go to www.keyz, the number 2, successinc.com. Click on the locker. Download your Take the Test, Don't Let the Test Take You interactive workbook. Go to the section entitled Test Taking Vocabulary Project Based Learning. And there are activities where that will help your child to understand the test taking vocabulary, complete at least 5. DM me a video on Facebook, on Instagram, and I will send you out a free gift because it is my goal to help all students K through 12th grade eliminate, reduce that test anxiety, and learn how they can take the test and not let the test take them. I hope this helps you. Again, I just gave you 4 words in about 20 to 30 minutes that will help your child eliminate their test anxiety, whether it's taking the state test, the MAP test, their regular English, reading, science, social studies test, because I don't want to see any more test anxiety. I want all of my students to ace that test this school year. If you know any parents that have or are struggling with their child with test anxiety, definitely share this out on your timeline. Tag them underneath this video. If you are looking for more additional help with test taking strategies, test prep, feel free to go to my website, www.keyz2success.inc, and enroll in my tutoring program. And I will go more in detail on how you can take the test. Don't let the test take you, give you strategies, give you tips, give you tricks. Also, if you join me tomorrow, I will be giving you 5 strategies on how you can take that test and not feel any anxiety and not struggle. If you stay with me all the way to Thursday and Friday, I'm actually going to go through a sample Ohio State testing for all those that live in Ohio. I'm actually going to go through a sample Ohio State testing question and teach you how to read that ELA test, read those questions, look at that math test, and answer those math testing questions and help you ace that state test. So that's on Thursday and Friday. So stick with me all week, every night, 8 o'clock, 8:15 till about 8:30. I got the key that will unlock your success. Did this help you? If this helped, give me some hearts, give me some love on Facebook and Instagram. Tag some parents, share this out. I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you guys tomorrow for day 2 of test taking strategies. And remember, you've got the key. Now, let's unlock some doors. Take care.